So here we do the Turbostrip application for thumb. I use 50mm Turbostrip material. I always preheat it, so I immerse this into the water for a few seconds just to activate the material. And then in order to get very smooth edges, I will prepare the material. So I remove it from the water, remove a little bit of moisture, and then I fold basically side by side. So almost like seaming it together. So I create like a tube of the material. And then I immerse that into the water again for my application. So when the strip is ready, I remove it. I place it on the towel to absorb a little bit of moisture on my prepped material. Then I basically start by making a cross like this. Meet the ends of the material, hold one of the ends on the side, and then I continue the way up and then basically attach to the material on top like this. And then I hold it in place. I usually squeeze the material a little bit together so it actually has a little bit of adhesion in that way. I have now basically placed it together there, and it's actually circular there, so I will use my scissor later on as soon as it starts setting a little bit to open it up. If you make a pinch slightly, just feels good. You can see now that there is a double 8 turn that actually reinforces this area of the thumb. And once the material starts stabilizing, then I will open this one with my scissors. So we can look at the result. As you can see, double in that case, and then basically double 8 reinforced on the side. Then I remove the application carefully with my scissor. Just cut it open like that. And then I can remove my application. So now the Turbostrip thumb is actually ready. So we decided basically to cut it off, and what I will do when I remove that is basically cut away some excess material that I don't need. That overlap piece that we did, we can basically just decide to cut away. And I will do the same thing on the roller side. I tried to cut it quite round, and as you can see here, the material has actually overlapped with a double kind of cross, so it becomes quite stable. So we try this on the patient. We can see that it fits really good. On the volar side, the platform goes all the way into almost mid-vola, and on the dorsal side, a little bit on the upper side. And then we will then connect these two together with the strap. I might do a slight adjustment on the thumb. This part here usually can be problematic for the patient to slide on, as it rides over the IP joint if the IP joint is actually quite wide. So what I will do with that is I will immerse that into the water again. Just slightly heat the upper layer. And then I will fold the material slightly outwards like this, just in order to make it a little bit wider and quite soft, so it doesn't cause any discomfort. Now it slides very easily onto the joint, there's no problem. I can also check basically here between the index finger and the thumb, so it doesn't actually ride in, but it has already a very smooth surface there, so I don't anticipate any kind of problems. So the next application we will do now is basically putting the hook and loop on to the application. So for our Turbostrip thumb, we will do the same thing here now. We will apply basically hook and loop. I will do it this way, that I will attach the loop strap onto the dorsal frame, and then I will put basically the hook on the roller side, so we basically close it like that. And the first thing I will do is actually positioning the self-adhesive hook part. Self-adhesive hook never lasts very long, so I make sure that my application will actually remain in place during the life expectancy of the splint. And then I prefer to do that with using Turbostrip to basically laminate the hook into place. So that should be fairly good. I remove the protective cover and then I attach basically the hook onto the surface. But in order for this to actually remain in place, I will use a very thin strip of Turbostrips again. And I cut it down so it's about 5 mm, and I will use that basically to line. Since I have the foam cover on both sides, I would like to have the material a little bit more sticky. So I use my scissor, I put basically the strip over like this for a couple of times just to remove that so it becomes pure thermoplastic. Once I've done that, then I use my heat gun and I spot heat the strip. It goes fairly quickly with the strip. Once it's hot now, the foam will actually protect my finger from getting stuck into the material. So I can just align it like this, position, 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 until I basically meet my application, and then I can just remove the strip. And once I've done that, then I just press that thermoplastic into my hook part and into the top surface of the thermoplastic. Now it's actually welded in place. There is no risk that it peels off. We'll do the same on the strip of the loop part, and we just will cut this down so it becomes a little bit more narrow, rounding it off like that. And then in order for this to stick a little bit better into the position, I will use my heat gun just to melt the top surface of the loop. That means that I'm getting closer to the tape when I do my application. The next thing I do, fold the material, put my scissor in, cut a small hole, and this will actually be the position where I use my thermoplastic to create like a rivet. Before we do that, I will spot heat the area for just a millisecond or maximum a second. Then I will position the strap, test the direction so it actually meets the hook, and once that's done, then I will take another Turbostrip. It should be as wide as the material, not wider, so I will cut this one down. Then I will basically remove the foam layer so it actually becomes a little bit more sticky. Then I use my heat gun again. Then I position that over the thermoplastic and the strap, and exactly where the hole is, I press that into position. So now the application is ready. The strap is secured and also the hook part. and that basically means we are ready for the patient application. So.
Okay, little rotation.
Now our Turbostrip thumb is ready. We applied basically the hook and the loop. We've done a little bit of a rounding on the thumb piece as well, just to make it more comfortable. We apply that on the patient like this, and then we attach the hook and loop.